Ignoring technological change in a financial system based upon technology is like a mouse starving to death because someone moved their cheese. Good morning, everyone. I, Dr. Shuchi Goel, Associate Professor, DME Management School, and convener GSMC 2022, welcome you all to the third Global Strategic Management Conference on FinTech in Metaverse Challenges, Opportunities, and Future Trends, organized by the Management School at Delhi Metropolitan Education, Noida, affiliated to Guru Gobind Singh Indraprasth University, New Delhi. I would like to acknowledge and thank our knowledge partner, Careerthon Services Private Limited, and media partners, Financial Services and Amar Ujala for their support. Careerthon Services, founded by Mr. Prashant Khare, is a Noida-based leading skilling and employability organization that has transformed and mentored many tech and non-tech students to perform in the corporate world. We welcome Mr. Khare along with his team. To acquaint everyone present today with Delhi Metropolitan Education, Delhi Metropolitan Education is an A-grade premier educational institute affiliated to Guru Gobind Singh Indraprasth University, New Delhi. DME imparts education in the fields of law, management, and journalism with the law courses approved by the Bar Council of India. The institute is located in the IT hub of NCR and is housed in a splendid building laced with modern educational facilities for enhancing students' creativity and capabilities. The sister institutes of DME include Mayur School, Noida, in collaboration with Mayo College, Ajmer, Delhi World Public School, Greater Noida West, and Delhi Technical Campus, Greater Noida. I would now like to apprise everyone about DME Management School. DME Management School offers Bachelor's in Business Administration course, which is an intensive 3 years program. The endeavor in the course is to sharpen the managerial skills of the students. BBA course under GGS IPU has been designed in such a manner that it provides a strong foundation in learning business disciplines and enables the students in key competencies essential for business management at the graduate level. At DMS, we provide various opportunities to students to learn more about the real-life situations in the business world. We organize expert lectures on management topics by eminent personalities from the corporate world. The course enables a student to acquire interdisciplinary knowledge of all the functional areas of business, as also to obtain practical working background for a facilitated entry into a management position. As we now move ahead, I would like to say that no institution can run without the presence of a great leader, and we are privileged to have with us our respected Vice Chairman, Sir, Mr. Aman Sahani. Alumnus of the prestigious London School of Economics, Sir is a guiding light to all of us and a torchbearer who leads DME with his unique style of leadership. He motivates and inspires a team of remarkable faculty to induce better teaching and assure better learning outcomes under his guidance. His visionary attitude helps drive the institute a step closer to its mission each day. We welcome you, sir. Moving ahead, I would like to introduce our respected director, sir, Professor Dr. Ravikant Swami, Dean of DME Management School and Director DME, also the advisor of the conference. Sir has over 24 years of experience in teaching and administration. Dr. Swami has a decorated and diverse educational background, a PhD in management, MBA, and bachelor's in economics from prestigious universities in India. And he has certifications and trainings from B schools like IIM Bangalore, IIM Calcutta, and IIFT New Delhi. Dr. Swami has an assorted list of subjects at his command that credits him with the excellence of a multivariate teaching style. Sir has published numerous research papers and supervised PhD thesis, dissertations at MPhil as well as MBA level. We are excited and humbled to be in your continuous guidance, sir. Welcome to the conference. This conference would not have been possible without the guidance and support of the head of the department, DME Management School, Professor Dr. Purva Ranjan ma'am. Dr. Ranjan is currently working as a professor and head at DME Management School, also the advisor of the conference. She's also the founder of the mentoring cell at DME. She has done her PhD in retail marketing management and an MBA in international business management from Indore University. Dr. Purva is a Google certified digital marketer who has rich experience in digital marketing and specializes in social media marketing and content development. She is also an expert POSH trainer and regularly conducts workshops towards making the work culture safe and inclusive for all. Dr. Purva also works closely with corporates and students in various areas like digital marketing, entrepreneurship development, digital transformation, to name a few. Over the years, she has organized several FDPs, workshops, and many conferences, and has been invited to several places as a session speaker. Thank you, ma'am, for always being the guiding light, and welcome to the conference. I would now like to invite Professor Dr. Purva Ranjan ma'am for setting the theme of the conference.
Good morning, all the respected dignitaries, DME seniors, and warm welcome to Jha sir, Dr. Watts, Devendra sir, Rashmi ma'am, and all the respected national and international session chairs. Warm welcome to our beacon of inspiration, Mr. Sahani, and Swami sir for our constant support. Welcome to the conference conveners who have been tirelessly working to make this conference take a proper shape. I also welcome Mr. Prashant Khare and his team, Amar Ujala and the team, and the Financial Express and the team. So, this particular theme has been set keeping in mind what has been unfolding of late, and that is metaverse. And it's a universe which is in parallel to a real world. It has several layers which we will unfold in the upcoming panel discussion, various keynote sessions, the paper presentation of the research scholars, various questions raised by the audience and the guest, and also with the help of faculty members who will also give their inputs in this particular area. So metaverse and fintech go hand in hand with various innovations that are in place like digital currency, metaverse wallets, financial literacy using gamification and virtual reality simulations. So much is happening in this universe, which is now called metaverse. And with the help of GSMC 3, we are going to unveil this universe and understand it better, understand the potential it carries, and understand the opportunity, the challenges that we are facing, the threats related to various cyber issues. And definitely in this one area, I'll say that in India, I'm sure government sector is a step ahead than the private sector. Usually the thought process goes like that the private sector is going faster. But with the guiding light here, with the help of Jha sir, we'll understand that yes, government sector is doing marvelously well, and it has become inspiration for various digital startups in the area of fintech as well. And GSMC is one platform wherein we bring the students, the research scholars, the faculty members, the industry specialists, the government sector, and the international academia all together to brainstorm on a particular theme. So this year, I officially announce the conference open, GSMC 3, for all the discussions and deliberation to happen. So now over to our two capable conveners to take the conference forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for setting the theme of the conference and declaring the conference open. I would now like to shed light on the Global Strategic Management Conference for which we have gathered here today. Every year, DME Management School organizes academic conference on a unique theme. In November 2020, DME Management School started an international series of conference, which is called Global Strategic Management Conference, GSMC, with the first GSMC being on the theme of remote working that was held during 21st to 28th November 2020. The convener of the conference was Ms. Roli Vadhva, Assistant Professor DMS, and the co-convener was Ms. Parul Grover, Assistant Professor DMS. GSMC 2020 aimed at discussing the upcoming trend of remote working in the wake of the COVID crisis. In GSMC 2020, 10 professors from 7 countries like Belgium, Nepal, Nigeria, Oman, Saudi Arabia, Spain, US, Israel, India, and Sri Lanka were invited for the conference. The second GSMC was organized during 13th to 20th November 2021 on the theme Workplace Digitalization, Challenges, Opportunities, and Future Trends. The 8-day conference with Dr. Seema, Associate Professor, DME Management School as the convener, and Dr. Pooja Sharma, Assistant Professor at the Management School as the co-convener, aimed at discussing the varied viewpoints and perspectives on digitalization of workplace from several parts of the world. GSMC 2021 invited not only the technology experts, but also the VP, HR, and head HR professionals, as well as the professors from around the globe for intensive deliberations on this topical issue. Let us now have a look at the GSMC 2020 and 2021 highlights through a small video. For this, I would like to request Dr. Khushbu ma'am to please share the video. Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing the video. Post the successful 2 GSMCs, this year's GSMC has been planned on fintech and metaverse, challenges, opportunities, and future trends. The 2-day conference aims at developing a detailed insight into the usage of financial technology in the metaverse. The rapid changes and growth in fintech is morphing the face of industry and commerce in the global economy in all the areas. Growing virtual space and reliance on technology has kindled the interest of firms operating in the fintech industry in providing financial services in a completely changed world. With the maturity of the fintech firms operating in metaverse, more opportunities are unfolding for diversifying the avenues of revenue and thereby growth. This global conference aims at blending cross-cultural perspectives and diverse opinions of academicians, corporate professionals, as well as the government. To start the discourse, I feel extremely privileged to welcome our distinguished chief guest, Mr. K.C. Jha, sir. Mr. Jha completed his BTech in Mechanical Engineering in 1981 and MTech in Mechanical Engineering in 1986 from IIT Delhi, specializing in research-based computer-aided and design and simulation. Sir developed and implemented the inspection software system for e-procurement in the year 1995 in the erstwhile DGS&D. He also initiated and led the supplier registration and assessment program in DGS&D, which is under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India, in 1997 today, which is part of GEM today, which is Government e-Marketplace. In 2006, he designed and architected the e-tendering solution in the erstwhile DGS&D, and the project was awarded a silver medal from the World Bank. This was the second e-tendering portal in the country, but the first total procurement solution of the country. From 2011 to 2014, Sir designed and architected an end-to-end jute procurement solution which handled the jute procurement to the tune of 6,000 crores. From 2016, Sir was working with the government e-marketplace as an additional CEO, efficiently handling over 600 product categories of consumer goods, also the category of fire and safety. Sir is currently an advisor, Business Functions and Integration, GEM, Ministry of Commerce and Industry at the Government of India. We are extremely delighted and honored to have you here with us today, sir. I would like to request you to share your thoughts with all of us present here.
Good morning. Good morning to everybody. And respected all senior panelists here and the faculty members and the mentors of DME. I'll just present what exactly I did in government e-marketplace. It's a digital transformation of public procurement. It's a total procurement solution we have created. So a lot of fintech technology we have used. While going through the slides, I'll just explain you how we have used the technology for the transformation of public procurement. So our Honorable Prime Minister desired way back in 2016 that government should have something like Amazon. The public is buying from Amazon, government should have also an Amazon portal to buy the goods and services. That was mandate given to us on 7 February 2016. And a team, technology team and the business team under my leadership started working on this with a lot of support of our Honorable Minister and our senior leaders, IAS officers and all. And within 45 days, we created a prototype POC of this government e-marketplace and demonstrated to our minister. So within 45 days, we could create because all kind of such solution was already available in GSMC, which was designed by me only and our team. So we could show that, and then it was approved, let us go ahead, and we were given grant of some 200 crore rupees to start the project. So this is how it started. I mean, history is like this. And on 9th August 2016, we launched formally the version 1 of government e-marketplace. And let me tell you, a consultant was also hired for detailed project report, DPR. Consultant was creating a DPR and we were creating a POC. And the speed of our team was so high that DPR was not ready, but product was ready and launched. So in the history, first time it has happened that DPR was not created, DPR was only under the way. And the product was created and launched and inaugurated by our Honorable Minister, then Madam Nirmala Sitharaman. So in GEM, we do not have any government culture. It's a totally flat organization, lean organization, and total 80 number of officers and executives from government are hired from the market. We operate the GEM and do the business tremendously in a very efficient manner. So, next slide, please. So this is a one-stop online procurement solution created by us. And GEM brings the world-class practices in the public procurement. I mean, reverse auction, the negotiation, combination of bid and reverse auction, whatever is available best in the world class. We have visited, I mean, GSA of USA, Korea, Chile Compra, Singapore eBiz. These organizations, their product we had visited and made a comparative, and we have ensured that our product, our features, our functionality, this becomes the best in the world. So best in the world procurement practices we are bringing in the GEM. It has been mandated by Rule 149 of GFR. General Financial Rule has been amended by the government to get an administrative framework for GEM to launch. And we have many tools for procurement like e-bidding, reverse auction, direct purchase, and best value of money we get when anybody does the procurement through the GEM. And we have three pillars on which we have designed this is the efficiency, transparency, and inclusiveness. Efficiency and transparency is definitely is the key part of our product, but we have created a lot of efforts for inclusiveness. I mean, bringing SC/ST supplier, MSC supplier, women enterprises, artisan, weavers, all those kind of features and functionality we have brought for social inclusiveness in the public procurement. These are basically stakeholders. If you see the GEM has three organs, then the buyer, then the seller, the partners are the bank, and inspection systems are there, CVC, CGDA, RTI, and the bank and payment portals. Lot of fintech technology are here when we have integrated with the banks. We have integrated with the trades. We have integrated with the defense payment systems, railway payment systems, public finance management systems. So these payment gateway, SBI multi-option payment systems. So in this, I mean, the sixth element, lot of fintech technology we have used here on our payment gateways. And these are the basically tools: direct procurement, L1 purchase, intent of buying through bid without any comparison, and then there is a reverse auction. So these are basically mode of procurement that GEM has facilitated. And if you see this slide, you will have a feel that we have all India presence and we have many partners. IMA is there, PhD, CII, MATE, they are our all associations and they are partners of the GEM. And then there are banks, financial institution. If you see right side of the map, they are the financial partners of the GEM. So we have integrated with all the banks, ruled banks, for the payment, billing, refund, return. All these functionalities are there online, integrated with the banks. What exactly GEM gives you, everybody, the direct access to all government department. I mean, digitally, see earlier, one seller need to travel to all department to showcase their product, to market their product, explain the features, functionality. But if you see this transformation, once you come to the GEM, you register on the GEM in 20 minutes, and then you upload your product, and entire government market is accessible to you within 25 to 30 minutes. So it's a digital transformation we have brought into the business. And then this is a basically end-to-end from registration to payment, provides transparency and ease of buying, all kind of facility, price trend analysis we give in the market, last purchase price we give to the buyer. So buyer on a click of button gets this goods and services has been purchased in Tamil Nadu at this price, it has been purchased in Kerala at this price, central government has purchased on this price. So these all information on click of button is available to the buyer. So he is able to make a very quick decision. I mean, he has not to travel all the manual work to find out the price reasonability and all. So purchase procurement decision is quite faster by all these decision support system that we have created and facilitated to the buyer. And finally, it's a very friendly dashboard for buying, monitoring, supplying, payments, return, refund. Everything is through the dashboard. And all MIS, everything has been created in the dashboard. So dashboard driven system we have created for the buyer. And these are basically advantages to the buyer, why they come on the GEM. Next slides. And if you see advantages for the seller, see, seller with one product upload goes to all government department, state government, municipal corporation, all CPSC, all market, they access from a click of button. So this, the ease of business we have brought to the seller. And one most of the important thing I would like to tell you, when we launched the GEM version 1, Prime Minister office could buy a thermos flask which was manufactured by a woman enterprise in Tamil Nadu village. And she supplied a thermos flask to the Prime Minister office with the help of GEM, and it was way back in 2016. So this kind of transformation we have brought. Anybody sitting in the village, they access all the public procurement market with the click of button, and then they can market their product. There is a dynamic pricing, and we have made a strong vendor rating system. Again, let me tell you, this vendor rating system is not by any human intervention. It's an algorithm of the machines we have created, the timely supply, the quality satisfaction of the product, no rejections, no service call. All these things we have taken care in the vendor rating systems. And this is how we have created a very strong vendor rating systems. So, and then there is a pin code based filters for seller to encourage participation from the local supplier. If in the Noida, if you want to buy only from the local supplier, you put your pin code and go to the local supplier. You will get only local supplier in the market who will supply you the product. So this supports the, all encourage your supplier who are in vicinity of your organizations or within the vicinity of buyers. So these are also features we have created here. And if you see integration part, we have integrated with CSC. In the village level, we have done integration with the CSC, and they support even the Panchayati Raj buyers. Small buyers in the Panchayat, they are able to buy from the GEM. We have done integration with the India Post Department. So delivery, pickup, delivery, everything has been facilitated, and this integration is totally online. And then from Udyam Aadhaar, we get the provisional registration to MSME. So all cross database integration we have created within the GEM to facilitate the validation from all cross database. And there is no manual verification in the GEM. Let me tell you, nothing happens here manual. In the 2016 itself, we have designed this organization 100% paperless. And of that design, we got extreme benefit in the Corona period. Since the organization was already designed paperless, contactless, faceless. So during the Corona period, GEM worked at 100% efficiency without any disturbance, and we could support the all seller and buyers online. So these are basically key statistics. If you see, we have 62,000 buyers, 50 lakh seller who are there on the GEM portal these days, 48 lakhs products, and we have created more than 1.1 billion of orders, and total gross merchandise value is 2,95,000 crore. So within short span of time, we have traveled very rapidly. And if you see our growth, year-to-year growth, the version 1, we got only 422 crore of the order. We are growing exponentially. If you see this, our graph, every year, nearly we multiply by 3 times. So this is the growth rate we have got. And CPSC, the state government, they have almost 50-50 central ministry, state government, CPSC. They have nearly one third of the shares in our gross merchandise value. So we have strong growth in the procurement, and I think, yeah, and out of total cumulative sales, 2 lakhs crore, 55% was just in the last financial year. Over 1 crore transaction we have completed till date, and World Bank did an assessment of saving by the government, and we have given nearly 8,800 crore to 11,500 crore. This is estimated saving in the last financial year itself. So huge amount of saving we are giving to the government by this digital transformations, and 15% price reduction we are getting in the tendering cycle time. So standard templates for quicker error-free procurement, bid form, standard terms and conditions, the library, SLA for the service procurement, fast-track procurement, everything we have introduced in the public procurement is fair. If this is the basically again, if you see growth of the buyer, so continuously lot of new numbers of buyers are coming, and number of buyers are increasing rapidly. And similarly, if you see the growth of seller in the financial year, 17, we had only 4,299 seller, but now it has crossed more than 45 lakhs. So again, there is a huge growth in the buyer, there is a huge growth in the seller, there is a huge growth in the business. And why this all growth is coming? This all growth is coming because of the transparency, efficiency, inclusiveness, and contactless, faceless buying, and online payment, online integrations. No manual process we have allowed to live in GEM. That is the beauty of our design. If you see the 100% increase in service category, again, let me tell you, in the country, product buying was there with the DGSMD, product buying was also there with the defense and the railways. But the service buying was very much unorganized. So GEM has created an organized procurement of services. We have created standard terms and conditions, standard SLA, standard scope of business for the services, their payments, logging, payment cycle, and again online payment. So service part, which is nearly 25 to 30% of our business, is basically a vertical which has been innovated by GEM only. It was not organized in any government organization. So this is one of the contributions we have brought into the procurement of the service. And if you see the technology, we have all major technology with us. We use very high amount of artificial intelligence and machine learning for designing all different decision support system for the price reasonability, demand forecasting, everything. STQC has audited our platform and even certified us. All solutions are cloud-based right from the beginning. 2016 itself. And we have multiple URLs. Supplier registration is on one URL, buyer is on, contracting is happening on one URL, payment gateway is on different URL, and all URL is having the multiple technologies. So we are not based on one technology. Somewhere it is Ruby Rail, somewhere it is PHP and MySQL, somewhere it is SQL Server database. All kind of technology we are using, and then we have world class of security management that we have created for safe transaction on the GEM. So this is what exactly I wanted to present for the GEM. And if you see social inclusiveness, so these are basically area of the social inclusiveness where we have gone for vocal for local. We promote Make in India. We promote procurement for MSC and tiny industry, women enterprises. And all of you will be surprised that in the GEM, nearly 41% of the procurement has happened from the MSME itself. So these kind of social inclusiveness we have brought in the GEM. And then we have twin solution for MSME. One more thing, let me tell you, I'll like to highlight that for MSME, I had been working in DGSMC as Additional Director General, and I was also heading the MSC vertical there. Most of the MSC was having the problem for the capital. They say, sir, we get the order, we don't have capital. In the GEM, we have created a GEM Sahai. GEM Sahai is a app which supports MSME for getting the capital against their government orders. So this is a unique feature we have created, and this we have created with help of one of the financial organization in the Bangalore, and they have supported us in the GEM Sahai initiative. And see, cost of transaction is so low in the assessment that a vendor is able to get loan of 10,000 rupees from the GEM Sahai. So a small amount of loan. I mean, normal bank, they do not get you small loan because their vendor assessment cost itself is nearly 1 lakh rupees. So they say small loan is not viable. With the help of digital fintech technology used in the GEM, we are able to give a loan of 10,000, 20,000, 40,000 to small vendors, to SC/ST manufacturers. So this is kind of new and innovative solutions we have brought into the GEM in the fintech area. And I think we can cross this slide because time is little less. Yeah. See, if you see our inclusiveness, so 92% of the contract, 3 bidders, 71% outside of the GEM. GEM size given more than 13 crores of the loan to MSME on the order based. The moment you get MSME gets an order on the GEM, they apply for GEM Sahai and online money is transferred to their account. And once their payment is done, online money transfer is back to the financer. So this is the solution of the GEM Sahai. And 100% there is a audit trail which is established and it is available on the buyer dashboard and it is also available to the public for their viewing. So who are the major propellers who are there in the GEM is the CPSC and the state, central government ministries, services, and for forward auction we have launched for asset monetization. And then the health sector we have entered and tenders of 2,600 crores, single tender of vaccine has been finalized on the GEM. So these are basically propeller of the GEM. And in the financial year 22-23, we intend to do business of the 2 lakhs crore, just double of the last year. And who are the expected future growth? All cooperatives are coming on the GEM. See, there are 10 lakhs cooperative who are not in the organized procurement. So our Honorable Minister of Cooperative and Home Minister, Honorable Amit Shah has launched a program that all cooperatives will come on the GEM. So more than 10 lakhs cooperative is going to come on the GEM. We are creating a works vertical, so all works procurement will happen on the GEM. So far it is only the goods and services which is happening on the GEM, but works will come on the GEM. And beyond that, see, GEM will be successful only when it reaches the village. So we have gone to the Panchayat for procurement. Recently, we have done integration with the Panchayati Raj Ministry, MOPR. And now Panchayat is able to make the procurement through the GEM. 2 pilots we have done. One we have done with the Gurgaon Panchayat and one we have done with the Ghaziabad Panchayat. And those Panchayat are able to use our GEM portal successfully, their own EGS system, which was launched by the Ministry of Panchayat Raj 3 years back. So now Panchayati Raj buyer need not have any separate user ID password. Through their own system, they can come to the GEM, they can do the procurement and billing and payment, everything will happen through their old system. So that kind of integration we have created. So We in the GEM have tried to reach the village, starting from Delhi. Now we are in the village, and we have created all kind of inclusiveness for all public, small people. So with all this initiative, let me tell you, we are moving ahead towards the major satisfaction of buyer, seller, and public, and getting value for money for the public. And if you see the count of orders here, the percentage success, if you see the last column, percentage failure is 0.03%. Because of this digital transformation, online transaction on the portal and everything making online, so failure rate of the contract is very, very low in our systems. So I could tell you most of the things what we have created, and we have used huge amount of technology here because we have automated 100% of our business solutions through the cloud-based. And most important thing what we have done for the seller is the online payments, online billing, online giving the informations through their dashboard, and we have made their payment assured by blocking their payment in the bank account of the buyer. So now no buyer can make procurement unless they have the money. Earlier the system was buyer used to place order and they used to say seller, whenever budget will come, I'll get you the payment. Those things have been vanished by the GEM with the digital transformations. So thanks a lot for patient hearing, and
Sachi ma'am, you're on mute.
Thank you, ma'am, for letting me know. Thank you so much, sir, for apprising everyone in so much detail about the genesis of GEM, which is the government e-marketplace, the mode of procurement by the GEM, how GEM endeavors to make public procurement process transparent, efficient, and inclusive. We came to know how the government is using the online portal and the fintech technology and a completely paperless, cashless, technology-driven platform for the procurement of common use goods and services with minimal human interface. We also came to know about the advantages it has for the society in general and for the buyers and sellers in particular, and how it is providing a safe financial transaction environment to its users. Thank you so much, sir.
okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Moving forward, I would now like to request Mr. Aman Sahani, sir, Vice Chairman, Delhi Metropolitan Education, to share his thoughts with us.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody. I'm delighted to be speaking today at this conference. As students of politics and philosophy, economics, even law, we studied a lot of state of nature theories of how things were when the world started, abstract theories, what was the need of governance, what was the need of control over people, what was the need of the basis of setting up laws. Are human beings good? Are they bad in nature? How did we come about acquiring private property, personal property? What protected it? And we see now with the advent of the metaverse, a lot of these things playing out in reality. And it's not as abstract anymore. It's very real, and it's not a parallel universe being created. It is very much a symbiotic universe, and it may or may not be as successful as a Mark Zuckerberg is betting on it to be. But then it is still quite real. It does exist, and it is being used more and more. And like I said, it's not parallel. It is very much reliant on the dominant regime, the dominant thought process today, which again is an extended neoliberal regime where the dominant endeavor of humankind is very much a consumeristic approach towards things, and automatically thus in the metaverse as well. Business is the fulcrum around which a lot of things revolve. So it becomes quite essential and fascinating to study the nature of this evolving metaverse with the different lenses that one can view it, including technology, including finance, including business and management. And I think that's what this conference is looking to do. So I'm very excited about it, and I wish everybody associated the very best, and I'll be following it very keenly. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your insights on the theme of the conference. I remember the baby steps taken around 7 months ago by brainstorming about the topic of this conference, and here we are today. This conference is an outcome of those sessions. Thank you once again, sir. Moving ahead, I would now like to invite our respected director, sir, Professor Dr. Ravikant Swami, Dean Management School and Director DME, to share his views on FinTech in Metaverse.
So the purpose of a conference is obviously horizontal learning, because all of us, well, most of the times we live in a world of vertical learning. So peer-to-peer learning or horizontal learning is the, or I should say, amalgamation of ideas is the purpose of any conference. So with that purpose in mind, whenever we brainstorm, as Dr. Shuchi said, about deciding the theme of a conference, there is always a tussle, and the tussle is in a very intellectual sense, that the topics which are shortlisted, generally I find that they get rejected, and there's a reason for that. The reason is that this management school, DME management school, incidentally, it has moved to the next orbit in this year only, in the sense that we have moved from an annual intake of 180 to 240. So the purpose, while we decide the conference theme, is to take up a challenge rather than taking the normal topics which are there everywhere around, like challenges in management, advances in management. So at DME Management School, there's always an intellectual tussle, in the sense that the topics which are shortlisted, they seldom get selected. And the same happened this time as well. In the past, we have worked on topics like artificial intelligence, challenging topics like how mergers and acquisitions are going to happen. So this time we thought of taking even more challenging topic. And the topic is challenging in the sense that it is futuristic in nature. Like talking about advances in accounting or management or commerce is something which is ever happening. But taking a topic which is yet in an abstract form, as our vice chairman said just now. So things which are in an abstract form, talking about them gives us a lot of challenge and lot of fun as well. Well, this word meta, whenever we open our lifeline called WhatsApp, we find this word written over there. But I believe I heard this word for the first time when I heard the word metaphysics. So meta is, I was trying to tell it's a parallel world, but now I will say it's a symbiotic world. So meta is something which is going to happen. And the theme of this conference is about the challenges and opportunities. Challenges definitely are there. Why was the blue whale game banned? Because probably it led to suicides. So these are the challenges. Similarly, PUBG, the addiction to PUBG, I believe it is something what we can call the challenge of this meta universe. Blue whale, PUBG, all these are kind of challenges. But when it comes to opportunities, I think for a country like India, there's a huge opportunity in the sense that I can safely say on record that 2/3 of our economy is a parallel economy. It's an economy which does not have white money. So when the fintech in meta version comes, obviously there is a lot of transparency, and it leads to killing off that parallel economy, which is a major problem for a country like India. Well, in real estate, it's very common that If say, to quote an example, if I buy a property worth 1 crore, the registration happens for say 34 lakhs. What does it show? It talks about, it loudly talks about the parallel economy which is there. So I believe when fintech is there in its meta version, the opportunity is in the sense of controlling, mitigating, and eventually killing that that parallel economy, which has been India's bane, I can say, since independence. Then the other opportunity is in terms of inclusivity, because as the economy becomes more and more transparent, inclusivity is bound to be there, and what we generally talk about, the rich poor divide, all those divides are also bridged. So I believe management school has moved to new orbits, and with this conference, with such a challenging topic, it's going to be a great learning. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for such an interesting and informative address. It is always a pleasure to hear from you, sir. Thank you once again. I now hand over the session to Dr. Shalini Gautam, Associate Professor, DME Management School and Head Outreach, DME, and Dr. Rashmi Chawla, Associate Professor, DME Management School and co-convener of this conference. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Shuchi. After the enriching inaugural session that we just had, let us start with the second part of the inaugural session, which is a panel discussion on unleashing the power of fintech. Before we start with the panel discussion, we are going to have a quick round of introduction of our esteemed panelists. I would request all the panelists to please switch on their videos before we start with the introduction round. So all the esteemed panelists, I believe they are here, so requesting them to switch on their videos as well. So I will be starting first with Dr. Sean Watts. He's a professor in international business, Kim Young Adams College, Kim Young University, Korea. His areas of research and teaching are international management, marketing, entrepreneurship, and information systems with technology since 1995. Dr. Watts is currently active with the blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, and metaverse developments and consults various organizations. He taught at Korea's premier university, Yonsei University, the Indian Institute of Management, various universities in Kenya, Vietnam, Nepal, USA, and Canada. He has published several research articles with books indexed in SCI and Scopus Cuban journals. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me. I'm very happy to be able to hear all of you. I look forward to talking with everyone.
We also look forward, sir, to listen to your views. Thank you so much for being here. Yes. Moving on, I would like to welcome Dr. D.K. Malhotra. He is a professor of finance at Thomas Jefferson University. Dr. Malhotra teaches courses in derivative securities, financial risk management, fixed income securities, financial modeling, international finance, corporate finance, and investment portfolio management. He teaches at undergraduate and graduate levels. He has published over 150 research articles. His research on mutual fund expenses has been cited by the Securities and Exchange Commission, Investment Company Institute, Securities Industry Association, and New York Times. We welcome you, Dr. Malhotra.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be part of it.
Welcome you, sir. Moving on, Dr. Rashmi Malhotra. She is a professor of decisions and system sciences at St. Joseph's University. She has published over 61 research articles in various journals and presented over 113 papers in various referred academic conferences. In addition, she is also the editor-in-chief of the International Journal of Business Intelligence and Systems Engineering. She serves on the editorial boards of other leading journals. She specializes in the area of artificial intelligence, object-oriented systems, knowledge management, business intelligence, and electronic commerce business modeling. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. I look forward to listening to you all and have a productive discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Now moving on, we would like to welcome Mr. Ankit Mehra. He is the CEO and founder of Gyandhan, India's first education financing marketplace, a mechanical engineering graduate from IIT Kanpur. Mr. Ankit worked with Capital One USA for around 7 years before he left his job in 2018 and went on to pursue his MBA from IESC Business School, University of Nevada. Moving back to India in 2015, after his MBA, he started Gyandhan with the aim to simplify access to financing for higher education and make it meritocratic and easy. Now, we welcome you, sir.
Thanks a lot for having me. Looking forward to
sir. So now I would like to invite my co-moderator, Dr. Rashmi ma'am, to introduce the other panelists.
Thank you, Shalini. We are honored to have with us Mr. Vineet Tyagi. Sir, Mr. Vineet Tyagi is a CTO at Biz2 Credit and Biz2X. He's a strategic leader with a proven track record of digital transformation through formulating and translating business vision and strategies into products and businesses that have generated maximum ROI for the best interest of stakeholders, customers, and employees. Sir is an expert in technology forecasting, solutioning, developing strategic technology plans that directly or indirectly lead to enhanced profitability. He has managed technology and product development investments as large as $6 million a year and have directly led the creation and implementation of new business lines as large as $50 million a year in the space of big data and digital transformation. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rashmi, and excited to be a part of this conference. Looking forward to exchanging the views with everyone in this discussion.
Thank you,
just to lighten the mood a little bit, my introduction that you read out sounds more like my CV trying to pitch for a job, but my simpler introduction is I enjoy working at the cusp of technology and business and helping businesses succeed.
Thank you, sir. Okay, now we have Mr. Vineet Dahiya. Vineet Dahiya is the director and promoter at InfoAction Technologies Limited. He's currently heading the marketing and business development at InfoAction. The role comprises of formulation and execution of marketing strategy, brand building, demand creation, identification of new business opportunities, and revenue generation. His specific interests are mainly in the area of open source and its use in business, new technology trends, and helping clients reap the business benefits of open source model. He's fascinated with social media tools to engage in conversations with prospects, customers, and the community. With this, we welcome you, sir.
Hi, thank you for having me, and I'm excited to be part of this workshop and session, and I look forward to some wonderful conversations.
Same here, sir. We also look forward to hearing your views. Welcome you. Thank you, sir. Next, we have with us, we are honored to have Dr. Suman Banerjee with us. Dr. Suman Banerjee is an associate professor of finance and the director of PhD programs at the School of Business of the Stevens Institute of Technology. His research interests include theoretical modeling and empirical analysis with applications to areas of corporate finance, such as corporate governance, behavioral corporate finance, risk management, and energy finance. Dr. Banerjee has published extensively in top-tier finance journals. He has obtained several merit-based awards in the course of his academic career. Dr. Banerjee is a lifetime member of multiple finance-related national and international associations and editor-in-chief of an open access finance journal. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you. Let me warn the listeners and my panelists, fellow panelists, that this is way past midnight here. So I might fall asleep, but that has nothing to do with the discussions. And, you know, I'm from Stevens Institute. Stevens is actually a very well-known institute for bringing technology into business education. In fact, one of our founding member, Jonathan Swift, is either, you know, hated by people or loved by people, but he was the first guy to come up with downsizing. I mean, this concept of downsizing, what we saw recently, you know, our Meta company did, is actually his. And we have always, technology and business is so interrelated. This idea we have always, kind of bear the torch of this. So I'm glad to participate in this. I wish it was in a much better time that I'm much more awake and able to listen to everything. But say, it's not you, it's me. Remember. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. We are honored by your presence, sir. We have Dr. Indraneel Chakrabarti with us. Dr. Indraneel Chakrabarti is an associate professor of finance at the University of Miami. He received his BTech from IIT Guwahati in 2001, his MS from MIT in 2003, and his PhD from the Wharton School in 2010. Dr. Indraneel is interested in financial intermediation and corporate finance. He has written many research papers in leading journals. We welcome you, sir, wholeheartedly.
Thank you very much. I look forward to participating in the discussions.
Thank you, sir.
Looking at the illustrious panelists that we have on our board, who are coming for the diverse fields of academia as well as corporate, we actually can't wait to start with our panel discussion. Before we start with the panel discussion, I would like to request all the panelists to please, give your answers in certain time limits we have put in, so that we will be able to listen to all the panelists. So 3 to 4 minutes is the time limit for one answer. And then, of course, in the second round, we will have more common questions where you can put forward your views. So moving ahead, when we talk about the fintech and other financial services entities are increasingly turning receptive to opportunities through the metaverse, which provides a greater sense of autonomy, vastness, and direct participation. These companies are especially interested in discovering whether the metaverse can offer ways to enhance the customer engagement and obviously increasing the profits. Many financial services and fintech players are already taking tentative steps in the metaverse via AR and VR tools. We have also seen the increase in participation, in retail participation in capital markets because of this pandemic, especially in this uncertain times. So before moving on to the corporates and all, we would like to ask the first question of the panel discussion to Dr. D.K. Malhotra. And I would like to ask him that how this fintech industry is democratizing the capital market and boosting the retail participation. Over to you, Dr. Malhotra. Sir, you are on mute, please.
Yeah, sorry. As Dr. Suman mentioned, that this is about past midnight on the East Coast here. So anybody who is not a night person will be a little bit out of steam on this point in time. The idea of the fintech, be aware of it, the combination of the technology and finance part of it. I mean, we asked somebody in the undergraduate class, what's a fintech? And he says the technology that is used in Finland. Okay, it's not that particular part of it, just on the lighter side of it. Fintech, the integration of technology in the finance, it has not been new. It has been always been part of the financial world, and right from the telephone banking to the introduction of the credit cards in the 50s and the ATMs and electronic trading floors, and all this has always been evolving and will continue to evolve. The main benefit of this is how it has facilitated the outreach and how it has opened up new doors. That is the key part of it, specifically in terms of those people who are being left out of the financial systems. I mean, if you look at the McKinsey's report, they were saying that about 2 billion individuals and 200 million businesses, they were lacking access to savings and credit. And what this is facilitating, what technology is facilitating, is that with the help of open banking, with the help of alternate lenders, with the help of the mobiles banking, it is actually bringing them into the financial. It is bringing them into the financial system. It is bringing them into the financial fold of this. So that is where it is providing an opportunity because it has a lower cost and it is enabling the productivity gains across the economies. And this digital finance, that's the one which is which is providing, which might provide access to financial services, close to about 1.6 billion people now in the emerging economies on that particular part. So that is the key part of that is what is revolutionizing and the use of technology in the finance industry. Am I still within the limit?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. I would like outlined here. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable inputs on financial transactions and the role of fintech in financial markets and capital markets, especially retail participation. Before I move on to the next question, I would like to mention that we are really honored and privileged to have expert panelists from all across the world, namely US, South Korea, and India. So the next question is, like, with the digitization and financial transactions and the increased use of financial transactions over digital platforms, there's also a possibility of frauds occurring in the digital platforms. So my question to Dr. Rashmi Malhotra is, ma'am, how is artificial intelligence and machine learning propelling the fintech industry to the new heights, and how it is leading and helping in the prevention and detection of frauds? Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. This is an era of digitization, and with digitization, the stakes are higher for fraud also. And there are so many disruptive forces that have been on play, especially when we have big data and we have terabytes, petabytes of structured and unstructured data that can be used anywhere. So using this big data technology, machine learning tools have become an integral part of how we can use these models. It wasn't possible before because machine learning tools would take time. The computer processing power, the storage technology was limited. We worked on deep learners and neural networks about 25, 26 years back. And at that time, when we used to run our deep learning system for credit loan evaluation, it had to be run overnight for 48 hours of a top-class machine to churn those numbers. And just to understand what was going on, I ran that same model again, and it took me 5 minutes on a modern hexacore machine to run that. So that's how machine learning algorithms have now gone mainstream, because it is very much possible very quickly to assess if there is a credit card fraud, if there is some kind of fraudulent information. A bot can very quickly crawl all over the internet to see if there is a match. It can very quickly crunch numbers through some very sophisticated algorithms. And that's why the role of artificial intelligence has increased. Artificial intelligence techniques have become very popular. Machine learning is a subfield of artificial intelligence, but now it stands on its own. It has moved away from artificial intelligence, and it is being actually used very popularly to do predictive analytics, to mitigate risks across for investments and loans and credit card fraud detection. And the use of artificial intelligence, such as chatbots, intelligent virtual assistants, they can easily assess the needs, and they can easily process things to come up with an answer. I can go on and on. I can talk about robotic process automation, but I guess that's my time limit. So hopefully I am within time.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for those inputs. So, on one hand, I think, Dr. Malhotra, we have spoken about the increase in the retail participation in the capital market. And on the other hand, we have increasing of frauds because of artificial intelligence and machine learning and all. So my next question goes to Dr. Suman Banerjee. And I would like to ask him that looking at this scenario where we are the retail participation is increasing, and at the same time they are increasing the risk of the hacking and all also. So what is the future of fintech in relation to the risk management and regulatory compliance? Over to you, Dr. Banerjee.
How much time I have? I might have forgot. How much time?
Sir, you can speak for 3 to 4 minutes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So essentially, it's a rapid growth. Anything that grows rapidly, like cancer, we have to be very cautious about it because it has huge benefits. Growth is useful, but at the same time, too much quick growth without proper understanding is always problematic. And we saw this in the case of CDS. And fintech is also going through similar fad. I mean, it's very useful. I didn't mean to say by fad that, but at the same time, oversight is very important. Financial operators, fraud, misconduct, inadequate consumer disclosure, transparencies, products unsuitability for client base, conflicted fintech business models, misaligned with client markets, algorithmic decision-making leading to potential unfair outcomes. This is very important. One of the important things that financial intermediaries used to do is kind of give access to people to loans using soft information. Hard-coded programs might not be able to use the discretionary soft information the way human intelligence can do. At the same time, human intelligence can have the discretions can go, in some sense, not properly used. I don't want to say corruption, but not properly used. Sometimes corruption, sometimes failures. So hard coding often eliminates certain type of problems, but at the same time, it creates another class of problems. And so we have to be, very, very careful about, in some sense. So the compliance and the risk factors, the risk adaptation has to be quick, while regulatory adoption is usually slow. Risk is continuously reviewed, improved, while compliance is guideline for security. Risk is associated with a process, while compliance is associated with requirements, expectations, and regulations. So risk focuses on uncertainty, while compliance focuses on kind of adherence. So these are multiple factors that we have to keep in mind. If we over-regulate, we'll create a different class of problem. If we under-regulate, we'll create a different class of problem. What the regulators has to be careful about, that the user's base, the sensitivity to the user's base. We had a talk on, I was fascinated by the talk on the e-marketplace. But the question is that the vulnerable class might not have the expertise to use that e-marketplace. And there will create another level of intermediaries who will be doing exactly the same thing what they do with traditional marketplaces as well. So the way we think about this problem is that quick growth, important thing, it needs a lot of oversight. The oversight bodies typically lag behind. What I said quickly is typically lag behind the range of knowledge that is necessary to oversight. That is one of the biggest problems. Many of the people who are in the decision making are lack the knowledge, cutting edge knowledge that is necessary to. It's not always, it is not always bad intention. It is just, in some sense, inability to fathom the degree of importance of a certain problem and giving enough time and priority to solve it. So I will tell you this, that it's like, you know, a defense secretary of US said, known unknown versus unknown unknowns. So there are a lot of unknown unknowns in this process. We are trying to reduce the set of unknown unknowns and increase the set of known unknowns. Known unknowns are challenging, but unknown unknowns are, they are unknown, but it can crop up and it can be dangerous. I think I ran out of my time. I might have overshooted the time. I will allow.
No, sir, it is absolutely fine. We were enjoying listening to you. I mean, you have put it in a very cryptic way, the known, unknown, unknown, known. So unknown, unknown, and unknown, known. So I've noted it down. So it's a very cryptic way that you have put the
Not
thing.
my saying. It's a defense secretary called Donald Rumsfeld. He said this. What he meant is, you know, this transformation of uncertainties into risk is a process. So uncertainty is an unmeasured risk, and risk is measured, you know, something that has a measurement. So there's a lot of unknowns in this process. So saying how to regulate, how to think about it, and particularly the policymakers are, I mean, I'm not saying they're very smart people, but they lack specific, domain-specific knowledge. So they rely on people who might have different vested interest. And that causes all these sources of problem. So I'm warning that anything that grows fast, as an individual, we should watch more. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. My next question is to Dr. Sean Watts. Sir, you are currently active with the blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, metaverse developments. So my question to you is that the legal status of cryptocurrencies, it varies from one jurisdiction to the another. While some have explicitly allowed its use, and some countries haven't. So what are your views? We are keen in understanding detailed explanation from you regarding collaboration between different countries for regulating them, sir. Regulation for cryptocurrencies.
Okay, yes. So as I understand, so how do I see cryptocurrency and DeFi collaboration and regulation between different countries?
Yes.
I welcome DeFi for every country and everyone beyond El Salvador, where I used to live, and the Central African Republic. And then for more background, I meet specialists weekly to discuss this topic, especially related to Ethereum, smart contracts, NFTs, blockchain, which can control some of the regulations, perhaps. I meet many developers that love and promise this will grow in popularity globally. Myself, personally, I think decentralized currencies and finance will help wealth inequality to start with, and it's a huge issue to talk about for regulation. Countries are controlled currently by governments that print as much money as they want and need, regardless of impact, regardless of the regulations that are supposedly adopted by the world. The United States debt alone is supposed to be regulated and debts are supposed to be paid, yet the debtor simply just turns on their money printing factory when needed. And so the rich stay rich and maintain their control of less wealthy countries. So Bitcoin is changing this, and cryptocurrencies, with Bitcoin, there's only 21 million Bitcoins. You can't print more, although there are Satoshis, it is set. If anyone or any country grows their debt, people will see those regulation details. People will see that it must be repaid, and that person is either reliable or they're unreliable. So the Bitcoin system by itself regulates finance, and it can already be shared by the world, and it's being adopted by El Salvador, Central African Republic. Other cryptocurrencies may be able to continuously print new tokens and expand the currency supply, and there's perhaps more talk about smart contracts and regulations with other cryptocurrencies. However, almost all of those, in my opinion, like I'm not the advanced developer, but in my opinion, almost everything that can be developed in Ethereum and other cryptocurrencies could be built in the Bitcoin blockchain and expanded. So what that will mean is that the rich, wealthy people, they're going to change. They're going to have to start looking to every individual person in the world. And so each person can use details and grow their reliability, grow their reputation, and the world can see their reliability, and that will regulate itself on its own. What will happen, like with Ethereum, is that very wealthy organizations or companies or governments can print as much money as they want, buy as much of the cryptocurrency like Ethereum as they want, and have more voting sway to control those details. That can't happen with Bitcoin. So when we're talking about the regulation of cryptocurrencies and collaboration between countries, I think it's new. It is being slowly recognized by the world. It's being increasingly adopted by the world, including the countries that may not have had power in the past, but by adopting Bitcoin specifically, no one can continuously prevent them from paying their bills and growing. And a problem with that regulation is, how is somebody going to pay tax? You need to regulate to or pay tax to pay for the schools, pay for hospitals, pay for the roads. If it's just done by cryptocurrencies, we can't usually do that. We can't track that. So the wealthy people with Bitcoin are going to get wealthy enough so that they basically are just paying their property tax alone wherever they're located, and that will finance the schools and the roads. And the people that are not wealthy, that don't have a lot of property, they are, unfortunately, before they grow, they're going to be perhaps shut out of medical care and education and the roads. So it's going to be very chaotic for the adoption and the learning process, but eventually it's going to be a much better, fairer system, in my opinion, where every person in every country adopting a decentralized cryptocurrency will be judged on their true merits. A little bit long, a little bit confusing. I hope that was clear, that
yes, sir.
it's going to grow and be chaotic, but I embrace it for sure.
And I think the path is not going to be linear between the adoption, this innovation of cryptocurrency, and the actual adoption by all the countries. This is like you have said, chaotic, and I can say it is going to be a non-linear path with lots of ups and downs. Am I right?
Absolutely. El Salvador was the first country to adopt a stable, clear adoption of cryptocurrency, being Bitcoin. And many people around the world thought it was a joke. It was a funny thing. These guys are clowns. But several years, time has gone by, and they're still there. They're gaining in notoriety, and so they can pay their bills with crypto. People are moving there. So this small country that was not noticed before, all of a sudden is noticed. And that's going to change things. The other smaller countries, like I'm in Vietnam now, we're not supposed to be able to pay for anything in this country without using the government currency, which the government controls. But you can't stop anybody from trading in Bitcoin. It can still happen. So yes, it will be chaotic, and it's definitely going to grow. And the powerful people like United States government or Russian government, Chinese government, it's going to get very chaotic when they lose their power. Absolutely.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for those insights. So moving on, the challenge for the Indian government, if we talk about, or in the global world also, like in the inaugural session, we have spoken about the e-space, which the government is doing, the government of India has initiated. And Dr. Banerjee had spoken about lots of unknowns and risk which are associated with it. So my next question goes to Mr. Vineet Daya, and I would like to ask you, sir, what is the role of fintech in accelerating the transformation of business from traditional to the digital infrastructure? Because like in the beginning, we have seen that, Mr. Jha was talking about the Tamil Nadu lady delivering those flasks to the PMO office, and Dr. Banerjee touching upon the point that, probably it will increase another lot of middlemen because the vulnerable person, they don't know how to use this technology. So how is the fintech going to transform that business from the traditional to digital infrastructure? So over to you, Mr. Daya.
Yeah, hi. That's a very, very good question, I would say, because, whenever a new technology comes in or a new trend comes in, for it to become all pervasive, the cost has to come down. It needs to be accessible to the common man, to the people who do not have access to a lot of high-end technology devices or knowledge which is pertaining to the digital and the IT world. So the experience has to be really, really very simple and smooth. And I think whenever a new technology comes, it comes not just out of anywhere. It just comes because there are some gaps or there are some issues in the present model or in the present technology which people are facing, and they need to actually solve that problem. So when we started from an online system to a digital system where everything is available at the click of the button, and everything is available all the time, and you have really simplified how you can transact using digital technologies. But one thing which is missing is actually how do you humanize that experience? And coming back to your question, if it has to resonate with the common people, you need to make technology very human. And with metaverse and all, this is, I think, a next step in making the experience more human, where you are able to use the blend of technologies like your blockchain, your artificial intelligence, or your AR, VR, virtual reality, and combine these to create a virtual space where people can interact with each other. They can create a virtual community, and they can interact and talk as if they are meeting physically. So I think for fintech to become accessible, the human side of things which metaverse promises to solve is something which I would say would gain traction. Then the other thing is, I would say that it has to become very simple and easy to use. Currently, it is not. It is some geeks could understand it, and people are not able to understand whether they are interacting with something which is trustworthy. So there is going to be a lot of trust issues. This is something which needs to resolve further, because we could see when digital came in, there are a lot of scams happening. There are a lot of fake apps coming in, and people are falling into those scams. So similarly, the trust issues in the metaverse and the fintech, because it requires a lot of transactions, money has to flow from one hand to another. So the trust issues, and then also the legal side of things in terms of who is certifying it, and what is the my legal recourse in case something goes wrong. This also has to be taken care of before it takes off. And I would say the opportunities are limitless. As an IT professional, I'm excited by the opportunities it offers, because you could actually reduce your cost by not opening physical offices, branches, not inviting people to always come at a one central place. And it also resonates with Web 3.0 decentralized view, where you don't have to be available at one central place to do anything. So I think my take would be, just to sum it up, we have to make it more human, trustworthy, and create a legal circle around it to be able to be used by common people.
Very well articulated, sir, regarding the digital transformation of business. Now my next question is to Dr. Indraneel. Fintech has shown a considerable rise over the past few years, particularly with respect to role of technology-based platforms in the provision of credit. In this context, P2P lending, that is peer-to-peer lending, has acquired an increasing importance, with large share of loans being originated from P2P platforms instead of traditional banking channels. So, sir, we would like to have your views on what is the role of fintech in financial intermediation with regard to P2P lending, that is peer-to-peer lending, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for the question, Rashmi. So I do a lot of research in banking. That is my area of interest, mostly on the United States. And recently I've been working on Indian banking questions. The core question of banking has always been, there is information asymmetry. We do not know the borrower, right? The known unknown and the unknown unknown situation, where Donald Rumsfeld applies here as well. And how do you figure out more information about the borrower without spending a lot of money trying to do that, right? As we were hearing in the beginning. There are two ways to do this. One is to do proper due diligence, the old-fashioned way, which is costly. And now we are trying to figure out new ways, right? One new way is this idea that we are not going to lend a lot to anyone. Everybody will diversify the risk, right? So that is the idea of lending club and all these P2P approaches. We are not going to do the complete due diligence. We will take the hard information that is easily available. We will not invest in soft information. And if we do this with sufficient diversification, the idea is that nobody has to pay the cost of really understanding the customer in the early part and of the borrower. Over time, of course, the borrower is now establishing credit, right? And then now we will have more information on the borrower, right? And this is the exact game that has gone through before as well, when credit cards were given, right? We had the same idea. When bank accounts became more digitized, we had the same approach. And now we are going into this, we actually, P2P is becoming an older thing. Now we are going even further than that, where we will essentially, the lending approach, you are using cryptocurrencies to lend to people. All of these approaches are essentially the same idea. The transaction cost of borrowing and lending, we have to reduce to a point where the cost of absorbing new information is not borne by anyone, right? Because it's too diffused. And so for the United States, for India, for any country where there is a large group of people who do not have easy access to credit, this is a great opportunity, right? You can provide people a $100 loan, right? Or 10,000 rupee loan, as we were hearing before, without doing due diligence, and then they will build credit. So the general theme has been this discussion that how do we introduce technology? How do we incorporate technology in the lives of people who find it hard to anyway interact with older technologies, and newer technologies are going to be even harder, right? And so I see a lot of value in how fintech can, in general, this digital interfaces can reduce the cost of access of borrowers. And in India in particular, the advantage is that India is one of the fastest adopters of many of these new technologies, with mobile phone coming to many households before landlines, and mobile phones which are coming up are smartphones, and we have seen on those phones applications showing up which provide you cheap credit. And so those are great opportunities. Credit access is a great way for any country to grow fast. And I look forward to seeing rapid acceleration of credit supply in India, which will then lead to additional real economic growth as well.
Very well explained, sir. So my question is, like you said, there's an advantage of easy credit. So, sir, at the other hand, there is a possibility of default of loans also in this P2P lending.
Yes.
So what are your views on that?
And this is a careful trade-off, right? We can see, for example, what happened to Lending Club in the United States. This has happened essentially. They were unable to screen properly, to be honest, for very risky loans, right? So this is, again, going back to the discussion of how do we transition to this new technology. We should, and we can see how Lending Club has retrenched back in this P2P market. They are giving out ABCs, credit loans categories, which they had created themselves, essentially FICO scores of 620 and above in the United States. And starting there, because they overexpanded and found that all those loans defaulted. Right? One of the interesting things about Indian and many other microfinance marketplaces is that, I mean, this was something I knew before I started the PhD, and I was very fascinated by this fact, told to me by Suresh Sundaresan at Columbia. He was also very interested in this fact, and I'm sure, and he is still interested in this fact, that 99.2% of microfinance loans do not default. Yet, the cost of financing, the cost of borrowing for those loans is about 24%. This is not, this doesn't make sense, right? I mean, the default rates are so low, yet the cost of financing is so high, or cost of borrowing is so high. Why? And the answer is transaction costs, right? You have to go to that village, give money to that guy, right? I mean, this is not, as we heard, and as anybody in banking knows, it's just not worth many people's time. And it's happening more even in the US now. After Dodd-Frank 2008, we see that regulations have restricted or reduced the amount of loans available to lower income borrowers. And in India also, we know that bigger cities it's easier to get loans, smaller places harder. So this is important, as you pointed out, that we must make sure that risk is taken into account. That is a standard issue of banking as always, right? But the novelty in this world which we are seeing now is in the new world of this fintech and so on, as financial technology. And remember that finance is the second largest purchaser. US banks are the second largest purchaser of computer hardware after NSA, right? So new information, utilizing new technologies is a standard for finance, as you guys are showing that you are talking about this new technology. How would we use it in finance? So that is always going to be the case, and that's the core issue here. How can we reduce the transaction cost while maintaining this traditional trade-off that we always face, which is there is a chance of information asymmetry, which will lead to borrowers, first of all, taking the money and running to Vegas, right, with it, or something like that, or Macau, right? But the idea is that always remain. But now the transaction cost will come down, so the ability to provide loans to credit-worthy borrowers while keeping interest rates low, so that they don't default, because they don't want to default, but 24% is too high, right? And so how can we make that happen?
Thank you, sir. Thank you for those insights. So moving on, now that we know that the fintech is a very, very important topic, and the youngsters probably need to be educated about this. So my next question is to our director, sir, Dr. Ravikant Swami. Sir, I would like to ask you that what are the rising trends in fintech education, and how universities and other programs can best prepare the students for success in the industry, in the fintech industry, sir? Over to you, sir.
Yes, when we traditionally talk about the management field, and when we traditionally talk about the specializations in management, we say it's like marketing, finance, and HR. And generally what happens in the business course is that you have to opt two. So generally people take finance either with HR or with marketing. So finance has been an integral part of say management education and commerce education as well. But then when we talk about including this fintech and including this in its meta version in the curriculum, I think it's just the tip of the iceberg. We are yet to see the time when such things will be included, at least in India. I can say the syllabi, say for example, if I talk about IP University, which is one of the leading universities in this country, I find that even the meta word, this word called meta, may be completely absent from the syllabi. So it is yet to come. It is just the tip of the iceberg. And yes, as far as the advantages are concerned, in a educational setup, we find that say in Delhi, we find that the universities are little modern. So they ask us to furnish an affidavit that no fee will be taken in cash. When I say I'll not take any fee in cash, it obviously means that I have to shift to various options of non-cash payment. And this is how fintech, not in its meta version, obviously, that is yet to come. This is how fintech has affected the students, the parents, the teachers, and the educational institutions. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for explaining in such a wonderful way how fintech is revolutionizing the education sector. My next question is to Mr. Ankit Mehra. Sir, the traditional financial institutions have a rigid approach when it comes to financing education. It makes receiving education a far-fetched dream for those who lack the financial means. Unlike traditional financial institutions, the user-friendly approach gradually bridges the learning gap and provides financial adequacy. Sir, you are associated with Gyandhan. So can you deliberate on how fintech is acting as a driving force for encouraging mobility in terms of educational financing? Over to you, sir.
Sure. I mean, the very genesis of Gyandhan was to solve this problem. And I'll go back to a couple of points that Professor Malhotra mentioned, and then Professor Indranil also mentioned. So I think, first of all, I think it's not, the whole concept of fintech is not new. Technology, finance as a sector has looked at technology and utilized technology over the years. So as Professor Malhotra mentioned, whether it be ATMs, whether it be cards, technology was at the forefront when it comes to financial services. And as Professor Indranil was mentioning, the key question really is, how do you assess things, whether it be risk or anything, in the lowest cost fashion? And that is where historically the issue has been. If I talk about education lending in India, traditionally it was a mortgage-based business. So if I went abroad for higher studies, and that is really where I got my idea when I was pursuing my business school studies from ESA Business School, I saw students facing trouble getting loans, and Indian banks were not giving out loans. And so really the key in terms of education financing, enabling education financing, is really predicting future cash flow of students. So really predicting who will get a job, what kind of salaries will this person get once he or she graduates. So that is at the very core of underwriting a student. I'll take a couple of other examples, actually. I'll take 2 examples from our own business to elaborate on this. So the first example I'll tell really is about students going abroad for higher studies. So again, as I said, when in 2015, I was helping my colleagues get loans, we realized that Indian banks were giving loans only up to 7.5 lakhs for higher studies abroad. MBA at a top business school costs 1 crore. So it's a joke if you're talking about providing a financing of 7.5 lakhs. Right. At this point in time, there are options wherein now what we have is we have models that predict what kind of salaries people will get once they graduate. On the basis of that, at this point in time, there are options when students can avail loans up to 60 lakhs without any property. I think there is still a lot of room for improvement, but I think that is one of the key things, how it has enabled. And that is reflected also in the fact that when we started business back in 2016, the overall segment average ticket sizes used to be 4 lakhs. At this point in time, the average ticket size for the segment itself has increased to around 6 lakhs in the Indian markets. But if I'll talk about Gandhan specifically, our average ticket size for students who take loans through us is 33 lakhs. So it's actually a pretty feasible difference. The second example I'll talk about more specifically is during the COVID, the pandemic, there was obviously a complete shutdown of access to funding. And one was the traditional people, like if I'm a salaried person, I want to provide or find fees for a way to pay fees for my child. But the other aspect was if I'm not in the traditional setup. So I'll take an example of, we had a customer who was working at urban company. So she is not really a salaried employee. She is doing daily gigs. How does a bank typically underwrite them? Banks cannot, because going back to the point of it, they'll have to put an underwriter there, or they will have to first figure out, hey, where do we even get these documents for? The cost of underwriting becomes so huge that, hey, I cannot give you a 1 lakh loan. Versus with technology, the benefit ends up being that, hey, we can look at quickly 2 or 3 different bank statements digitally and kind of have algorithms running to assess, hey, this is the reliable cash flow coming in at a net level to the customer. So it's not just money moving from one account of the customer to the other account just to show for an loan application, but this is the overall application or overall financial stature of the customer. So I think once we have that assessed, we were able to give out loans to loan to that particular customer. And exactly as Professor Indranil mentioned, that segment, what we also started doing was we also started doing some kind of a graduation product where rather than giving a 3 lakh loan, we started giving out 30,000 loans, and then we started graduating those customers up. In that segment, we have not seen even a single default, let alone default. We haven't even seen late payments in the loans that we have done in these segments. So the willingness is there. It's really a question of, do you have the necessary tech rails to be able to provide that credit? And I think, at least in the Indian context, there is a lot of work that has gone on the infrastructure layer with all the government, all the independent bodies. So I think we are definitely at a place where we can do a lot more needs to be done. But I'm hopeful that the industry players, capital markets will solve for it, and there will be startups or traditional incumbents who will come together and solve for the problems of assessing the risk profile of a student at the lowest possible or cost possible.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mehra, for those insights. So we have spoken about the retail industry, capital markets. We have spoken about the education industry. We have spoken about the startups as well. So I would like to ask you, Mr. Tyagi, Mr. Vineet Tyagi, that how the various technologies like cloud computing and big data drive these digital changes in fintech overall across all the sectors. Over to you, Mr. Tyagi.
Thank you. So if you look at the technologies that are driving these change, cloud, big data, AI, ML, a lot of virtual reality, metaverse, and other digital, technologies which are shaping up. Predominantly, if I were to put it across, they really democratize the ease of innovation. Now, if you have to work on problems which are hard to solve or which require big tech investments, cloud solves that problem and democratizes that technology access. So there's a lot of progressive innovation, new business models, a lot of hypotheses that startups have can be easily proven with technology. So a lot of tech-led businesses and tech-led solutions to problems that exist within different sectors have come across. There is greater flexibility, a lot of scalability. Industry regulations become very easy to centralize and apply as well. For the regulator, it becomes easier to also enforce regulations rather than go after 10,000 people to check whether they are regulated from a technology perspective or not. A quick example to that would be pertinent to India. In India, RBI mandates that everything that you do in the payments industry, in the lending industry, the data has to reside within the boundaries of India. So if you have cloud, you could have data centers in India, and a financial technology cloud allows you to then enforce that regulation very seamlessly without having to go check with everyone whether your data centers are in India or not. There is a lot of risk quality improvement that you can see both in the cyber risk side and the overall credit risk side as well. There's a lot of increase in flexibility as well. For example, a lot of made in India initiatives, when they're ready to scale beyond India, can do a global outreach very seamlessly if you're on the cloud. Because say an Amazon or a Google or a Azure data center is available in most of the countries and most of the geographical regions. So really, I mean, from a technology perspective, how it is helping, how some of these cloud and other technologies are shaping up the future. I can relate some of the things that Biz2Credit and Biz2X have been doing. Biz2Credit is one of the largest financial technology companies in US. We lend, to small businesses in US digitally. We have no offices or feet on the street. The last 11 years, we've been doing that. We've done it successfully. Last year, we lent about close to $6 billion using our digital, technology stack that we've created. And some of the problems I was hearing, people were talking about that how fintech can succeed. Those success we have created with technology, be it better credit scoring, new to, credit kind of scenarios. How do you underwrite people who do not have formal credit scores, who are new to credit? And that's a problem in India. That's going to be a bigger problem in India. If you look at statistics, and sometimes, every time I quote this statistic, it's trivial, but, it's very exciting in some way. 54% of India's population as of today is under the age of 24. 82% of India's population of 130 crore is below the age of 44. And this is a very big number. 2/3 of the people in the 54% are 16 or below. These are digital natives who will join the productive age. They'll get out of their, formative years. They will either be joining the job industry, or most likely they'll be joining a gig economy, running their own startups or their own businesses. How do you, underwrite them? How do you provide the growth capital, the working capital they need? Right. So I think with data, big data, having a understanding of the customer leads to a broader and a better product fit, including creating new products that deliver to the needs of the customer. Ankit was talking about how they've been doing it for students. It's a new financial product. Right. Now you could create a better financial product if you really look at the small business or even a person as a segment of one. That's what machine learning can allow you to do. Really target and understand the customer. You can have better risk management, looking at non-linear data, which we do. For example, we look at customers' payroll data, how they are, running their payrolls. We partner with payroll processing companies. That allows us to understand deeply based on the industry, and our models can determine the financial health, the cash flows, the revenues of a company, the stresses they might be going under, and then be able to support them with credit in a much better way. Of course, this thing is about metaverse. So the last thing I would say, metaverse is all about customer engagement, I would say. A lot of AI, other things which have come in. So how financial technology companies, what new business models, or how can even existing lenders like us and banks benefit from it? We are experimenting with, looking at is a low cost method of, engaging and even training our customer relationship people. How can you engage within the metaverse with customers and understand digital natives much better? We're also looking at trying out certain products within the metaverse, some new financial products. how do they stick around? How do they perform much better? So that's, I would say, in a nutshell, there's a lot I can talk about technology, about how technology is shaping the future. But like I said, there is fundamentally everywhere that technology is leading the development of many things that are literally just transforming the fintech space.
Thank you, Mr. Tyagi, for those insightful views. Now, I would just like to ask a open question to any one of the panelists who would like to answer this. Now, we have seen the importance of fintech. We have seen the challenges which the companies are facing, whether it is the giving loan to the education sector or reaching out to the remote areas where the transaction cost is very high. We have seen in this discussion some interesting points which have come in. So I would like to ask any one of you can answer this question, that that there is a shift. There is a shift, and Mr. Tyagi had said just now that 82% of Indian population is below 44 years. So these are the digital natives who would be probably more comfortable using those digital technologies and all. So I would like to ask all of you that how sustainable is this fintech business, and how is it going to shape up the change the outlook of the financial industry? Whether it is, the first part is it going to be sustainable, and how the face of the financial industry is going to change, say, in the next decade or so. So any one of you can answer that. This is open to all of you. So probably we can deliberate on this question for another 6-7 minutes before we close the session. Yes.
I'd like to add, if you can hear me, that I think it doesn't need to be for the next decade, as you asked. I think it's being adopted currently, already, immediately, from the bottom up. If we look at the advanced countries like North America, they are, my family is the old style. They're complacent, and they are doing things the same way that they've been doing things for decades. They're not adopting this new fintech and technology as fast as most of the world, the developing world. Look at all countries. China has more people using, here in Vietnam, there's more people using their cell phone to buy things and pay for things at a restaurant table or walking into a convenience store. They use fintech. Many of them, they don't even have a traditional bank account. So to answer your question, this fintech technology with education, paying for education, it's already here. It's growing like crazy. And I don't think it can be stopped. I'll be quiet now. That's my thought.
I would like to also,
yes, sir.
Yeah, I'd also like to add one thing. The needs of the people are also evolving. So if you look at the way the hybrid work is going on, and people are working in a remote and on-site model, so their needs for accessing credit and accessing and how to get the money and spend that money is also changing. The lifestyle is also changing. So I think it is throwing a lot of new opportunities and also challenges in terms of how the fintech industry has to support this ever evolving and the changing workforce who might do as Vineet and other people have pointed out, how do you underwrite them? Because they might not be having a very just one job to do. They might be doing multiple things at one point of time. And it is very difficult to actually help understand through the traditional model. So the need is going to be there. The need would keep on changing, but I think the industry has to upgrade with latest model in the algorithm to understand that changing nature.
Well, I would like to add to this question here is, I think I might be the only person saying it, so bluntly, but I think we're looking at times of great turmoil. And I'll tell you why that great turmoil is going to happen. As Dr. Sean was pointing out that, it's a bottom-up thing. Digital revolution or any revolution starts not top-down, bottom-up. And what is happening with fintech and financial technology is that traditionally banking sector has been oriented. Banks and institutions think they control their customers. And that is being challenged today. Nobody controls the customer. The choice of the customer controls him. So instead of the bank and the banking system being at the center of the ecosystem, the customer is going to be at the center of the ecosystem. Customer, his interests. Regulators are also realizing that they're stepping in, putting that. Recently, all these guidelines that in India RBI came out were strict norms on how RBI's, fintechs will function. A lot of unregulated stuff which was happening was just destroying customers, interest. So what is going to happen is that this shift of the banking industry moving from a centralized, siloed version of the truth, thinking they control the customers, to an ecosystem where the customer is going to be the center of the ecosystem. And then peripherally, fintechs and even banks who want to participate in this ecosystem will find applications, new use cases of technology to really participate in the best interest of you. Give him the right choice. The customer will choose. A digital native is used to this. Why people go to e-commerce? When you shop on Amazon, what do? You read reviews of the product you're going to do. And like me, I don't know, you would probably read, when you have made the choice, you would read the bad reviews. What is wrong? What can go likely wrong with my choice? So that is what is going to happen. And initially over the next 3, 4, 5 years, till the time we reach a period of stability, there's going to be churn. There's going to be times, failures of new business models, use cases. The banking system itself will try to exert its control. It'll be forced to be open up. Digital banks will emerge. So we are looking at interesting times. And as a technology, and I sit at the cusp of technology and business. I do both. I'm very excited. I'm excited that we are sitting probably at the transformation that happened 100 years ago when the banking industry really became global. This is going to become a next shift in technology or a technology-led shift where customers will regain their power.
Thank you, Mr. Tyagi. I think, Mr. Banerjee, Dr. Banerjee wanted to add on to something.
I just wanted to, clarify a few things which my understanding came from. That, within technology usage, there's a huge cross-sectional variation. And, I didn't mean that, using a phone to do online banking is a type of technology. And, using AI to determine who is eligible and who is not is a different class of technology. I mean, what I mean is that, there are two ways to do. One is a big bang. You basically change it, make the people adapt to the system. That's one way of doing things. Another is called slow adaptation. You innovate very small amounts. Okay, big bang systems sometimes work. I will tell you an example in education. I do assign classes and I had very difficulty in motivating people to do online classes. When pandemic hit overnight, these people got trained in online classes and they are now reluctant to do in-person classes. So that's a big bang, but it's an external shock. If you create an endogenous internal shock like this, you will face more problems. And the other process is called, slow innovation. Slow innovation is step at a time. It's called Westmoreland's one-step rule. Westmoreland is a mathematician from UCLA, where he said, go one direction on the east. If it works out, go another step on the east side. If it doesn't work out, come back one step on the west side. It's called Westmoreland's one-step rule. The distribution is usually clustered in that, but the process is slow because you are creating a variance by choice. So what I mean by is not technology per se, but a quick move, a big bang in the field of fintech is the risk that I was talking about, that you still have such a bag of, since you liked it, Shalini, since there's such a big bag of unknown unknowns, that big bang might be a little bit more problematic in this environment. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Anyone else? I think, Mr. Mehra, you unmuted yourself. So if you want to add on to anything, and then we can conclude probably.
Yeah. So I think there's this quote attributed to Bill Gates, which is banking is necessary, banks are not. This was back in the mid 90s. So I think going back to it, I think fintech is here to stay, but I think we need to, all the fintech players will also need to realize that there is a fin part of it, because the things where things will break up, as Vineet was mentioning, will be if we start thinking that tech in itself will somehow magically solve everything. I think if we keep the customer at the core of it and understand that there is a finance business at the core of it, then tech can really accelerate it. So the real long-term answer will be, there will be banks that become fintechs and there will be fintechs that become banks or provide banking services. So it will be a cooperation and a competition model. But the essence is both aspects need to be looked at carefully, whether it is the tech aspect or the finance aspect.
I think, I mean, from my point of view, probably I'm a bit traditionalist, but some amount of regulation has to be there. Like Mr. Tyagi had said that, you know, probably we are shifting, the poles are shifting in the customer's favor from the centralized banking system towards the customer. So I think if the entire shift happens, then probably we are heading towards a chaotic situation, so to say. But some amount of regulation, some amount of centralization is not bad per se. I mean, I know it will open another Pandora box of questions, another Pandora box of suggestions. But that's, yes, Mr. Tyagi, you wanted to say something, and then we can conclude.
You suddenly raised a great point, because you know it is not going to be a chaotic shift. It's not like, you know, the masses grab the power and then there is no control as such. No, as Ankit also said, the fin part of it, the finance part of it, the, you know, the regulatory aspect of it, the interest of the customer doesn't mean that the customers take over the regulation system. The interest of the customer takes over the regulatory framework. Right now, the regulatory framework does not adequately take care and concerns of the customer. It addresses the concerns of the bankers, right? So that is the shift that will happen. Regulations will not go away. Regulations will shift to be regulating
more
the new
customer-centric,
restructured kind of financial system that will come in play. And this is already happening. India is doing a great job. Not many people know this. While we talk about the payments, UPI and everything, India has led the way in showing the world that how payments, micro payments can really be digitized at a very low cost. But equally, RBI is doing some great work in putting customer consent frameworks into how data can happen, exchange can happen with customer, you know, consent. RBI has a framework called account aggregator. There's a consent authority of India, which has been formed up, that have created a framework that anybody can use to record customer consent for giving access to his data. So regulations will change. That's all I wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you have spoken about UPI and all, India has actually led the world. So this pandemic was the big bang kind of situation for us, where a lot of people have moved to Paytms and UPI system of the world, where they were not even having the accounts and not having credit cards, debit cards, but UPI, of course, is there. So I think this discussion is quite enriching, and we can go on and on, but we have to put the end to all our discussion. So over to you, Rashmi ma'am.
Thank you so much, Shalini ma'am. So today, if I sum up, we had a very highly enriching and enlightening discussion about the impact of fintech on digital transformation of small and medium businesses, and how fintech provides effective solutions to business to enhance their customer engagement and build an ecosystem which caters to the specific needs of the client, as very well deliberated by Mr. Vineet Dahiya sir, Mr. K.C. Jha sir. Next, how fintech is disrupting the financial intermediation and education sector with special reference to peer-and-peer lending was very well explained by Dr. Indraneel sir. We gained valuable insights on how capital markets are democratized in the era of fintech by Dr. D.K. Malhotra. Next, coming to technology, we got excellent deliberations on application of AI and ML for prevention of fraud in fintech by Dr. Rashmi Malhotra ma'am. Then usage of big data, cloud computing in revolutionizing the fintech and understanding customer behavior, especially mentioned by Mr. Vineet Tyagi sir. It was also mentioned by Mr. K.C. Jha sir, how technology is being used for pricing, security, business initiatives in government sector. We also had an enriching discussion on blockchain, cryptocurrencies in the fintech industry by Dr. Sean Watts sir. Regulatory compliances and risk management challenges in fintech were discussed and deliberated by Dr. Suman Banerjee sir. Excellent deliberations were received by Mr. Ankit Mehra sir on educational financing and Dr. Ravikant Swami sir on fintech trends on education. So to conclude, I would say that technological innovations will be the heart and blood of the fintech industry for many years to come. Thank you to all the esteemed panelists. With this, we come to the end of our inaugural ceremony, and I feel privileged to thank all who have made this inaugural session of the Global Management Strategic Conference 2022 an auspicious beginning. I would express my heartfelt gratitude to the Honorable Chief Guest for today, Mr. K.C. Jha, Advisor, Business Transactions and Integration, Government e-Marketplace, for gracing the occasion and for sharing his inspiring words on how government is using a paperless, cashless, and system-driven technology platform for procurement of common use goods and services with minimum human interface, incorporating three features: efficiency, transparency, and inclusiveness. My sincere thanks to all the esteemed panel members and guest speakers for today's session, Mr. Vineet Tyagi sir, Mr. Vineet Dahiya sir, Mr. Ankit Mehra sir, Dr. D.K. Malhotra sir, Dr. Rashmi Malhotra ma'am, Dr. Sean Watts, Dr. Suman Banerjee, Dr. Indraneel Chakravarti sir, for sharing their valuable inputs on impact, opportunities, challenges, and future trends in fintech. I would like to thank our knowledge partners, Career-Thon Services Private Limited, and the media partners, Financial Express and Amar Ujala, for the extended support for the conference. I would also like to thank Mr. Rahul Srivastava from Gyandhan for joining us and for providing support whenever Dr. Shuchi contacted you regarding conference. I feel honored to express my gratitude to Mr. Aman Sahni, Vice Chairman DME, Honorable Justice Mr. Bhava Singh, Director General DME, Professor Dr. Ravikant Swami Sir, Director DME, and Dean DME Management School, Professor Dr. Purva Ranjan, Head DME Management School, for their never-ending support and guidance. I take this opportunity to thank my co-moderator, Dr. Shalini Gautam, Associate Professor DME, and the Zoom management team for a wonderful coordination. Last but not the least, thanks to all the participants, faculty members, and dear students for joining the session. I would request the Zoom management team to please share the attendance come feedback form. Thank you to everyone.
Could I ask for everyone to put their video on for 10 seconds so you can take a screenshot to post in your social media?
Yes, sir, definitely. I request all the faculty members and all the esteemed guests to please switch on their videos.
Put your clothes on, time for a picture. While we are waiting for people to turn their videos on, I, like many of you, you're specializing in a certain topic. I have a PhD in an area and I teach innovative courses. And yet I am shocked at how much I don't know how fast these changes are happening. For example, the banking. I have seen so many young waiters, waitresses that are showing me they're using Discord to get financing from corporate social responsibility organizations or entrepreneurial organizations. And almost everybody in Korea and Vietnam and China, they're paying for things and transferring funds with their cell phone. it's happening faster than I know. And with technology, even though I have a PhD in the area, more advanced than I know. It's definitely chaotic. It's interesting. We're living in interesting times.
Thank you so much, sir. I believe we have taken a screenshot.
I don't
Yes,
see
I
more
have
people
taken it.
joining yet.
I'll share with everyone. I would like to say that we have shared a feedback form for the participants who are in the session. So request you to please fill that feedback form in the next 2 minutes, and then we will end the meeting. Thank you, everyone, once again, all the esteemed guests for gracing.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It was a pleasure talking to everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.